Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news. In the shadows of celebrity and long-distance love, where cameras used to catch laughter, mayhem, and connection, a silent conflict was growing within a man who had already fought many wars but never this one. Michael Ilesanmi, the Nigerian heartthrob who stayed strong through the explosive storms of 90 Day Fiancé, is now fighting the greatest personal battle of his life. And this time the fight is inside. It all started with a gentle pain that twisted and hurt his tummy one night in Lagos. At first, Michael thought it wasn't a big deal. Maybe it was just something he ate or a little stress. But the pain wouldn't go away. It spread, getting deeper into his chest and surging through his throat like fire. He got dizzy. His legs shook. After that, he fell. The sirens rang out into the night as he was carried to a neighboring hospital. The lights of Lagos blurred through the windows of the ambulance. The doctors moved quickly. Blood tests, scans, and fluids. What they found was much worse than anyone thought it would be. Michael had severe gastric acidity and a fatty liver disease that was getting worse. If left untreated, these two conditions could lead to organ failure, long-term inflammation, or worse. No one, his fans, his co-stars, or perhaps Michael himself, saw this coming. Michael lay in a hospital room that was clean and quiet, with cool fluorescent lights shining on him. He was connected to IVs and heart monitors that ticked softly next to him. He was tired all over. His thoughts were racing, and his heart was slowly breaking. He thought about how far he had come and how much he had been through on his adventure. The many times Angela and I fought, the long wait for visas, the mockery, the charges, the persistent stress on your emotions. He had kept going for years, smiling through the pain and showing strength when he was anything from okay. There were no cameras now, no prompts from the producer, no confessionals with a green screen, nothing but quiet. He looked up at the ceiling and traced the water spots that showed years of unseen damage. In those marks, he saw his own body, abused, neglected, and not spoken for. He thought about how long the conflict inside him had been going on without anybody else knowing. How many warning signs had he ignored in order to get closer to the American dream? He used every beep from the monitor next to him as a metronome to think. He remembered sitting in Angela's kitchen, attempting to justify himself with few words and a lot of patience. He remembers being angry and holding it in, staying cool even though his heart was beating fast under the surface. He remembered being hungry, tired, and under pressure. All of it was swallowed, denied, and made normal. And now everything had caught up with him. The doctors gave their diagnosis with compassion, but they were also firm. His condition wasn't immediately life-threatening, but it could be soon if he didn't change his habits in a big way. No more quick food. No more late-night takeout or fried nibbles. No more sweet sodas or oils that are so old they don't look like food. And most importantly, stop eating at eateries outside of your home. He needed to give his liver another opportunity. His gut lining, which was a relief from the continual acid damage. But this wasn't just about eating. It was about tension, the unseen enemy that had been following Michael for years. Emotional chaos had messed up his body, making it hard for him to sleep, raising his cortisol levels and making his immune system weaker. And now his body was begging for aid. The body speaks a language, a way to talk when words aren't enough. It uses tiredness as a whisper. Inflammation is like a scream. Michael's body was now screaming. And nevertheless, he tried to keep his cool. Michael had always been the calm one in public. The person who keeps the peace. The person who tamed the storm, even if it was raging inside him. But in that hospital room, without the mask he had worn for so long, he was just a man in suffering. Michael, who was usually strong for the world, felt weak for the first time. He looked at the ceiling for hours. He said a prayer. He sobbed. He thought about the people who cared about him, and those who had stopped talking. Angela Deem was not there. The woman who used to scream at people on FaceTime, demanding loyalty, attention, and surrender, was now quiet. There were no messages. No check-ins. Georgia hasn't sent any flowers or called. And although he had made a lot of mistakes in the past, and there had been a lot of drama, Michael had believed deep down that she would still care. That she would see him not as a failed husband or a cast member, but as the man she once swore she couldn't live without. But the hush stayed. Loud. He looked through their old images and read their old text messages again. He stopped to look at a picture of them laughing at the airport. He shook his fingers as he got closer to her smile. Was any of it true? Did she ever love him for who he was? Days went into a week. Michael's strength steadily came back, but so did the weight of what he had learned. His existence, which he had created piece by piece on the prospect of love and a new future, was unstable. More breakable than he had thought. As they walked by his room, the nurses quietly prayed. Friends who stayed loyal brought oranges, herbal teas, and words of support. But every night, when the lights went off and the guests left, Michael was alone with his thoughts. Sadness, pain, thankfulness, and hope. He started writing in a journal. He called his mom more often. He drank more water. Before bed, he muttered to himself, "You're still here. You can get through this." The swelling had gone down by the end of his second week. The physicians indicated that his stats were getting better. But they told him this was just the start. Discipline was necessary for healing the body. Even more healing for the spirit. He would have to change the way he lived. Walk every day. Make his own meals. Don't eat snacks at night. Cut down on stress. Above all, pay attention to his body. Because this was the only chance he would ever get. He started to meditate, taking big breaths, looking out the little hospital windows at the morning. He hadn't felt peace in a long time, but he found it in the calm. Eventually, news of his health got out to the public. And the love that poured in was too much to handle. People from all across the world wrote notes saying, "We love you, Michael. Be strong. You're not alone." There were a lot of hashtags on Instagram and X like hashtag pray for Michael, hashtag get well Ilesanmi, and hashtag stay strong Michael. The man who had once silently suffered was now a symbol of strength. Not for Angela to last, but he chose to live instead of listening to his body's warning. And yet, even if he got stronger and his skin got warmer, the mental wounds stayed raw. Angela still hadn't called. Producers from TLC said that his health problems stopped all filming. Some people close to Angela said she didn't think it was that serious. Some people said she just didn't care anymore. Michael never said anything bad about her in public. But when someone asked, he started to cry. And he just said, I just want her to get in touch. That's all. Michael took a deep intake of Lagos air. Humid, full of life, unfiltered, and noisy, when he was released weeks later. But suddenly it felt different. The world didn't seem like something he could conquer. It seemed like something he needed to defend himself against. He didn't leave the hospital as a damaged man. He woke up when he walked out. He moves slowly now. Eats with care. Reads more often. Less talking. We don't know what will happen to him in America. He doesn't have a romantic life. But what about the way he feels about himself? Starting at last. That might be the best love story that 90 Day Fiancé never filmed. In a society full with drama, shouting battles, ultimatums, and viral videos, sometimes the bravest thing a guy can do is heal. And sometimes the most important thing to say is, this gossip is over. If you liked the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.